Morning, everybody. Beautiful day this morning in Malibu after that big rainstorm we had yesterday. And it can be a little dangerous going up in the canyons after a rainstorm. There can be a bunch of stuff in the road, but I pre-scouted it, so we're good. Welcome to the 2016 Cadillac ATS Sedan. It's a good-looking car, this thing. I really like it. It has a great presence, very muscular with the carbon accents and the lip and the wing. And it's good in this pearl white, which does cost $1,000. This one's an automatic. I drove the stick before, and the stick is good. The stick is nice, and this one has the 8-speed with the magnesium paddle shifters, same as the Corvette. So let's go for a blast and see how it do. Track mode, you got the adjustable magnetic ride suspension with Tour, Sport, and Track. Gets progressively stiffer. Tour is pretty good for everyday use, although it's linked to the exhaust. You can't, as far as I can tell, make the exhaust loud and the suspension soft the way you can in an AMG. You have to be in Track or Sport to get a loud exhaust. So manual mode here, we're gonna run Payuma. Here we go. Twin turbo V6, 464 horsepower. Watch this. Boom! The ATS-V has the best turn-in I've ever felt of any car in this segment. You can see how little I'm turning the wheel, and it just goes right over, loads up that Pilot Super Sport, and you're good. You're off. Even the regular ATS-V has, or the regular ATS, I should say, has a brilliant chassis. It's very light. It's this car is 3,700 pounds, which, okay, not very light, but for a car of this class is solid, and it moves its meat around really, really well. The immediacy of the turn-in is what's really just jumps right out at you. The steering rack is very tight, very quick ratio. You don't have to physically move the wheel all that much in order to get it to go around the corner. Payuma's a good road. It's part technical and part quick. Alright. Power delivery is good. At half throttle, it kind of feels like it's dragging itself. At full throttle, it really wakes up and gives you the juice. As you could probably expect, the weak link is the 8-speed gearbox. It's just same as the Corvette. You know, maybe at full throttle in a straight line, it shifts as fast as Porsche's gearbox or a dual clutch, but the downshifts are what tell the whole story, and they're just not that smooth. They're delayed a bit from when you tug the paddle until the gear actually changes. Brakes are great. Brembos, they're painted gold in this car, which is an extra option. The car starts at 60. My test vehicle is 75 grand, which it's pretty loaded, this thing. It's got just about everything, and that puts it about 5 grand more than a base M3. So you do get more equipment. It's a great chassis. The brakes are really strong. Q, of course, the Cadillac user interface just stinks. It's the worst one in the segment. I mean, that would keep me out of this car. If everything else was perfect, Q would still keep me out of this car, because I've been driving this for a week and I can't get it out of any setting, or I can't change anything to make it less frustrating. It's just terrible. Fortunately, Bluetooth works good, and there are 3 USB ports. You can keep all your stuff charged and really just do everything through your phone. Now, the weakness of the ATS-V, well, let's not get there yet. Things I really like. It's the right size. It feels smaller than the M3, but not in a way that encroaches on your space. It feels the right size on this road. Wow, it took that bump really well. Magnetic ride is awesome. I love the look of it. These optional Recaro seats, I think they're $2,300. They're worth it. They're adjustable in many, many ways, and they are very comfortable. The trunk is pretty big. It's reasonably practical. It's comfortable when being driven slowly. Here's the carousel. come on, change down. There we go. Lots of grip. Lots of grip. Easy to get it around there. Changes directions just beautifully. Things I don't love. The rear seats don't fold down, which I think is weird for a car in this class. It takes away from a little of the practicality. And the rear seats are kind of small, but I guess that's what you get when you make your car a little smaller. It has a very generic sound. I mean, it takes a lot of work to make a V6 sound good. Jaguar pulled it off in the F-Type. They haven't quite gotten it here. It's pleasant, but let's just say I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's no M3. The M3's engine is snappier. That inline six, it revs up and down faster. I don't know what the torque converter equivalent is of a flywheel. Maybe it's still a flywheel, but it feels heavy. It goes up and down slower than the Germans of equivalent spec. And even like this, maybe with an exhaust, maybe an aftermarket exhaust will solve this. But it is quick. The other thing I don't like about the ATS-V, like the Z06, it does not handle heat well. Pretty cool morning this morning, so the engine's behaving, but we had one of these in Texas doing our season finale for NBC Sports. Mr. Harris was driving it, stick shift coupe, and it overheated in the Texas sun a few times and went into limp mode, lost about half your power from that. So while it saved itself from imploding, or exploding as it were, if you live somewhere where it's hot, this is probably not the car for you. It just doesn't handle heat very well. But God, the chassis is brilliant. The way it just is tossable with such a quick steering rack. You can momentum drive it too. It's got a lot of grip, not crazy huge tires. I think they're 275s, but it gets around really good. Usually these roads are really jacked up after a storm, but it appears the street sweeper has handled most of that. See, it's fast, but it's not like crazy fast. You know, they say this car will do 189 miles an hour. Okay, I guess that's possible, but I don't get it and go, whoa, it's fast. Cold Canyon, and there's just a lot of time in between when you tug the paddle and when it changes the gear. It doesn't have that right now to it that I'm looking for. Of course, they do make a stick, and you can get that, and it has auto rev matching. So good car to learn to drive stick on, even, because you almost can't screw up with that auto rev matching. Good section here. Tightens, opens. Here's the tightens, and then opens. Throttle response is pretty good for a turbo motor. It doesn't particularly feel like laggy. It's just there is a difference noticeable between how it behaves on half throttle and how it behaves on full throttle. And I'm not just talking about that you get more power on full throttle. It does have a fluidness to it. On a track, they say that this runs right with an M3 on a track, and I imagine under the right conditions, that is probably true, at least for the first few laps. The brake pedal's getting a little softer, no less effective, but I can feel it in the pedal. The visibility is really good in this car. Backup camera actually works really nice, and the forward visibility and the mirrors are good. A little hesitant there when I went down to second and went back on the gas. There's just a little delay. I don't know if I can call it turbo lag or if it's the traction management. I have traction control in sport. Woo! was a good little run, wasn't it? And that one take is over quicker than I thought, but this is a quick car, and so you get a quick canyon run out of it. For 75 grand, it's pretty good. It's a great effort from GM. The materials and the fit and finish are pretty solid. Q is just the worst. So if you can get through that, and if you live somewhere where it's not too hot, or you're not going to be driving it really hard where it's hot, sure, have a look at the ATS-V. It is a good effort, and I like most of what they've done here. They've got a little ways to go to truly catch up to the Germans, but it's pretty good. Yeah, that's all. Goodbye.